Hi there. Welcome to Secret Places in the Open Air. I'm your host, Ivan Taprod.
Zombies of the world unite. Zombies are getting out more. They're walking in parades in Warsaw, Poland, eating brains on aluminum lunch plates, pulling out their eyeballs, and generally having a good time.
It's easy to become a zombie,
says Kurt the zombie.
I became one without even trying.
Here's some zombies in France, covered with mud from freshly dug graves. It's okay to be dirty when you're a zombie. If you catch a disease, you just become more of a zombie than you were before.
What the world needs is more zombies,
says Felix, the spokesman for his zombie group.
People are too caught up in pretentious status displays. Zombies are beyond all that.
The Walking Dead are uniting. Here's some zombies in Istanbul, Turkey. Here's a zombie couple in Limerick, Ireland. It's all a part of an international movement, not a conspiracy, but a natural, organic, civic evolution of people letting go of their social pretensions and phony posturing in order to find their inner zombies, the zombies who they always wanted to be. Soon the world will see a zombie apocalypse. In fact, it's already happening in European cities like Moscow, Russia, in North American cities like Montreal, Quebec.
I think that a zombie apocalypse would be a great way for the world to end,
says Sheila, a zombie wannabe.
It's a lot better way to go than a nuclear holocaust or being thrown into a flaming pit.
The Walking Dead have always been among us. And now, with advances in modern medicine, with people eating animals who are raised in indoor confinement facilities and drinking beverages sweetened with high fructose corn syrup, it is a natural and inevitable social evolution that we will soon all be craving the brains of the last few remaining true human beings.
And now, here's a special broadcast of the Secret Places News Forum on zombies. Our panel of experts are Lynn, Chuck, and Marty. What do you have to say about zombies, Lynn?
I'll tell you what, Ivan. If the zombie apocalypse ever comes, my family is doomed. My little boys love zombies, and I can't talk any sense to them. They're going to be the first to go. They're going to turn into zombies before anybody else.
And how about you, Chuck? What have you got to say about zombies?
Well, Ivan, I think that zombies are all about relentless sameness. They represent the inevitability of deterioration and entropy. You kill one zombie, and 100 takes its place. You kill 100 zombies, and 1,000 take their place. Finally, you are killed, and you become a zombie, another drop in the ocean of relentless sameness, another undead, deteriorating, reanimated corpse in a relentless tide of shuffling, stiff, and hungry undead who are greedily unified in their quest for more of the same. Wow, that's quite a mouthful, Chuck. How about you, Marty? What have you got to say about zombies? It's like this, Ivan. Zombies aren't the real problem. They're just a symptom of a deeper problem, of the general deterioration of our society. The real problem is the secular humanists. The only good secular humanist is a dead secular humanist. You can't say that about a zombie. You're right, Marty. It's a paradox to say that the only good zombie is a dead zombie. After all, a zombie is already dead. That's why we're here with our panel of experts to bring to you, our home audience, brilliant insights into the reality of our world. The Blind Man Who Haunted Bars. At midnight, a blind man came into the bar and sat down next to me. I recognized him immediately. I had seen him at the witching hour before, many times in various bars over the course of 25 years. He always looked pretty much the same, even when he wore different clothes. He was bearded, middle-aged, usually in a cowboy hat. Now he was wearing a plaid shirt and blue jeans. Dark sunglasses masked his eyes. Kevin. Who are you? Kevin replied, turning his dark glasses toward me and tilting his head. You don't know me, but I've seen you many times over the years. There aren't many blind men in cowboy hats who go to bars. Keep talking, said Kevin. I think I recognize your voice. We have talked before, but it's been many years, probably since the late 80s. You're Ivan, he said. I recognize your voice. You were once a Hollywood actor. You played Curly, the flapjack flipper, and you did a commercial too. That's right. I'm Ivan. You would sometimes ride with me in the back seat of a car, Kara's car, when she gave me a ride home after the bars closed down. Yeah, that's right. You would call out the names of the cross streets as we passed them, and I would tell you that you were right. You were always right. But you called them out anyway. You wanted to be sure. When I left the bar that night, I thought of the people who had passed away since the days when I first met Kevin. I thought of my father dying and of my mother growing old. I thought of the friends like Kara, who I knew then, but who I no longer know now. It was pleasant to have my voice recognized in the darkness, to be correctly identified by name by a man who could not see. I had this strange idea, this weird fantasy, that Kevin was not even a real human, but some sort of phantom who stayed forever middle-aged and did not grow old. I imagined that it was his job to go to the bars at midnight and to talk to people and remember everything, even the names of streets he could not see, even voices from decades past.
Businessmen with chainsaws. A smartly dressed businessman walked into the corporate headquarters with a chainsaw. Just that morning in Bangkok, Thailand, 2 businessmen with chainsaws had ravaged a street market, cutting down display shelves of potent aphrodisiacs, slicing open cages to set chickens and rabbits free, chopping the legs off of fruit stands, and spilling melons and peppers and oranges onto the street. It was just one more telling incident in a long litany of tragic businessmen with chainsaw events. The lovely, green-eyed receptionist looked out from behind her glasses, wondering who this strange man might be. She had heard about these businessmen with chainsaws, and she sometimes had fantasies about them, disturbing fantasies, which she tried to shake loose from her imagination, but which kept returning nonetheless. The beautiful young student intern stopped in her tracks. She started pointing and laughing hysterically, then froze in terror. She was a poet at heart, a lover of flowers and of sunsets. She hated the noise of chainsaws, their brutal destructiveness, their wanton disrespect for human craftsmanship, their sharp and bloody indifference to the bond of tree with limb, flesh with bone. She was a lotus flower, a cool breeze on a sunny day in a green, shady garden, but she lived in a brutal world, a world of duplicity and of dirty money, of decaying civilization, of endless war, biological weapons, death on the battlefield, and businessmen with chainsaws. The marketing specialist looked up. She was pleasantly surprised. She liked tall men, businessmen who weren't afraid to make money or to show that they had money. She liked men who dressed in business suits and who carried chainsaws, large chainsaws. The bigger, the better. She dreamed of turning these powerful men into unwilling servants to her sexual appetites and to her carnal needs. The chief salesman started eating his tie. He was no fighter. He was no tough guy. He was a talker, a schmoozer, a purveyor of dreams. Mechanical objects frustrated him. Chainsaws terrified him. He put his tie into his mouth because he knew that words or fists or even furniture were worthless in the face of a businessman with a chainsaw. The vice president of the corporation shut his office door, locked himself inside, and began practicing kickboxing. Now was his time, his shining moment, his time to show his employees what leadership was all about. The CEO's son looked through his office window at the intruder. His self-image was that of a musician, cool and melodic in a world out of tune. Yet the bloody, meat-rendering, carnivorous truth of his seeing right here before his eyes a businessman with a chainsaw made him want to scream. He reached for his own chainsaw. The strange businessman, with his chainsaw in hand, approached the receptionist. He asked with a sweet voice, "Would anybody here like to buy a chainsaw?"
You're missing a lens.
I am missing a lens.
The masks behind the mask. You take off your mask to reveal your own face. Or is that face really a mask which you take off to reveal another face? Where will it all end? The mask protects you. It gives you a choice, another option that you can select. You put it on to go places where you might not otherwise go. The mask creates mystery. It preserves privacy in public places. It hides your secret self. Cosmetic masks are reputed to regenerate the skin. Surgical masks protect the attendant and the patient from germs. Superheroes wear masks to hide their true identities or to reveal their true identities. But who is the you under the mask? Or is there really a you? There are certain biological markers, such as one's blood type or genetic makeup, which can identify us as individuals. A person's fingerprint, dental records, or a retinal scan are unique identifiers of who we are. Is everything else a mask? Are we most ourselves when the masks come off? When our feelings and expressions are one? Or is our putting on masks itself an expression of our highest intellectual functioning? What separates humanity from the beasts? Are the masks expressions of our true social selves? Is the child within us buried 1,000 masks deep? Zombies were people too. What a zombie needs is love. More than human flesh, more than human brains. What zombies need is a hug. Zombies, you see, come from all walks of life. They can be former soldiers, traumatized on the battlefield. They can be creative artists, or gifted actors, or from outer space. There are even zombies who dye their hair blonde. Teenage zombies so strongly influenced by their peer group are especially in need of love, as are the zombie children who become undead at such a tender age. Hey, Alice.
What do you want, Roy?
Could you love a zombie?
I think that zombies are ugh.
Me too. Zombies make me feel like ugh. This show is just zombie propaganda.
You're right, Roy. The zombies are just trying to make us love them so that they can eat our brains.
Well, I for one am not going to fall for that trick. If you can love a zombie, if you can find it in your heart to reach out and care, you might be rewarded with a zombie smile or a gratifying brightening of a zombie's eyes. If you're really lucky, you might make a zombie laugh or see a zombie sing and dance. If you want to help but can't make time to give a zombie a hug, then please donate to the zombie charities. We are trying to make the world a better place for the zombie children. And we're lobbying Congress to make zombies eligible for Social Security and other government-sponsored safety net programs.
The Soul Detector.
Human animals are social beings, and the human soul is attracted to other souls. This was the guiding principle that governed the operation of Earl Krieger's soul detection machine. When he turned the machine on himself to test its effectiveness, he could feel his soul reaching out into the darkness surrounding his body, groping blindly toward the light of the machine. He bought himself a Victorian mansion on a grand estate surrounded by a cement wall. The mansion was reputed to be haunted by the soul of a dead millionaire and by dozens of other souls attracted to communion with their own kind. Though the mansion was luxurious and the estate spanned 24 acres, Earl Krieger managed to purchase it for the price of a rundown shack. Earl Krieger was not afraid of ghosts. He mounted his soul detector on the back of his pickup, along with a gasoline-powered generator, which augmented the electrical current from his truck. In an instant, the yard was crowded with souls. The machine could feel their hunger, the deep desires which held them together without the connective tissue of flesh. There was the twin who could not bear to depart his brother, the general who could not leave his soldiers, the musician who would never make sounds again. A woman who had died in childbirth reached out for him, into him, her non-corporeal ether penetrating his flesh. The soul itself is a detector of souls, was the thought that came to him. He was not sure if the thought originated from himself or the woman. He powered up the generator to its maximum speed, then climbed into the cab of his truck and pressed the accelerator pedal. He could sense the soul of the woman pull away from him, drawn toward the machine. He backed up his truck to the stagnant, oily lake near the edge of town, close to the city landfill, and dropped the machine into the dark water. He watched as the souls of the lost humans shivered and melted, coalesced and dispersed.
Earl Krieger felt strangely empty as he drove away from the lake, back toward his mansion. He had expected to feel a sense of accomplishment, the triumphant glow of success. If he only had his machine, he could turn it on and detect what was happening inside of him. Earl Krieger returned to his mansion, his beautiful home, which he had purchased for such a slight price. He never did build another soul detection machine, and sometimes late at night, just before he fell asleep, he would wonder if his soul had wandered away from him and followed his machine into the dark and dirty waters of the lake.
Time and the supernatural. Time is the most supernatural thing we know. More transformative than religion, more frightening than the scariest of ghosts. It runs counter to the direction of memory, steals the moment, heals the wound, meters the dance, makes caterpillars into butterflies, outlives nations, outlives stars, separates future from past. Ghosts and zombies, mummies and vampires, even gods and heroes, do not live in the same time that we do. But time still unfolds in the same direction, counter to memory, and exacts its toll even on the immortals, even on the undead. The most stubborn among us are the angels and the devils, continuously fighting the same cosmic war, tooth and nail, with magical symbols, coats of arms, flags over the battlefield, flags on parade, talisman against harm, shield and armor, the medieval crusade, forever promoting truth over time. Each human army stands against the devils. Each side stands for good, forever stubborn, forever at war. The zombies rise, the ghosts appear, the trumpet sounds, the angels and the devils fight on. Life and love, evolution and civilization run counter to the laws of entropy. Yet time is triumphant, supernatural to even the devils and the angels, with music in accompaniment to make it seem for a moment as if time itself can be decorated and tamed.
Thank you for watching Secret Places in the Open Air. At the beginning of each month, we begin broadcasting a new show. Our time slot is 10:30 Wednesday and 10:30 Saturday, so be watching for a new show at the beginning of next month. We also have a YouTube channel. Just direct your browser to ivantaprod.com. See you next time.